British media reported Wednesday that Ukraine had fired Storm Shadow missiles supplied by Britain into Russian territory for the first time. The weapons had been used against Russian forces in occupied Ukraine, including this attack on Russia's former Black Sea Fleet headquarters in Crimea last year. London and Kyiv refused to confirm the latest reports. Earlier this week, Ukraine's forces fired US-supplied longer-range ATACMS missiles deep into Russian territory after Washington gave the go-ahead Sunday. France has also supplied Ukraine with its version of the Storm Shadow missiles, known as Scalp. The European missiles differ from the American ATACMS, says defence analyst Patrick Berry of the University of Bath.
They're air-launched missiles, but generally, depending on the export variant, usually got a range of 250 kilometres or 155 miles or so. I think that given the ATACMS has a longer range than that and isn't air-launched, so therefore it's harder to intercept, in theory at least.
Both weapon systems will open a range of new targets.
The range of both missiles is enough to get behind Russian lines and into Russian infrastructure targets, so that will cut off their supplies to their front line. So the actual range of each missile is not as significant as the fact that Ukraine needs them in great quantity and very fast indeed.
Ukraine will have to select its targets carefully, says analyst Berry.
Are you going to allow them to actually up the ante and start hitting energy infrastructure, military infrastructure, stuff that will, oil refineries, etc., stuff that would really start to hurt the Russian economy? That's the question.
Meanwhile, Germany, Ukraine's second biggest supplier of arms, this week ruled out giving Kyiv its long-range Taurus cruise missiles. Berlin fears being dragged into the war.
Nothing had changed for us. The situation, the circumstances are the same. And Taurus is Taurus and not ATACMS or Storm Shadow. So our perspective on that issue is the same.
The future of Western military aid to Kyiv remains uncertain. US President-elect Donald Trump has pledged to end the war on his first day in office. Kyiv fears US support may be cut. Britain and France could opt to continue supplying Ukraine with missiles, says Berry.
They're both nuclear powers. They can take that risk if they want to, leaning into it. I think you might find a divergence between European NATO and the US NATO on some policy issues around Ukraine.
Following Washington's decision to approve Ukrainian missile strikes inside Russia, Moscow this week lowered its threshold for the use of nuclear weapons. Henry Ridgwell, VOA News.